people made it from the Faz Premium?
So far, 4.
4 of the 13 that we're on, they've made the jump.
Edward Brewer, welcome to FazRadio.
On the left, there we go. I like being on the
well, yeah, I gotta move like my camera over so we can get back to the old way. I got a new setup over here. And
really close.
I really that is, isn't it? Oh shoot.
So do I sound better this week?
You do. You sound better. You're quieter. Okay, so you're quieter, but at the same time, you're much more clear, which is way more important than loud.
Am I louder? I have a gain here that I can turn up like this. Okay. All right, so we are going to be talking about Trump today.
Donnie.
But we are not going to be doing a political show. We're going to be talking about Trump in regards to crypto.
So they're actually going to let him speak at the Bitcoin conference, I hear.
Oh, that's what you heard?
From you. So while you're pulling that up, this week we have Apothic Merlot.
Merlot?
No, there's no O at the end. There's a T at the end. That's Merlot.
That's Merlot.
Are you an ingrate? You don't know how to speak English?
No. I'm from Versailles, Missouri, actually.
Okay.
That's what they call it over there.
Good.
If you were to call it Versailles, Missouri, they'd make you leave, laugh at you and yell at you. Okay, what's this? Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, how can I share the screen here? A lot of windows here.
Do you know what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I got that. I'll put this over here. And then I'll do this. What's that called? Donald Trump. Present, share screen. I'm going to find, I have like 55 windows open.
I've never seen somebody have that many windows open on a computer ever in my life.
No, I usually have more than that open. Anyway, so apparently Mr. Trump here wants to speak at the Bitcoin conference because he wants to make it a big deal. He wants the Republicans to go all in on crypto. But here's the thing. He wants to say, we want Bitcoin. We love Bitcoin. And we're going to make all the Bitcoin here in the United States. to me, that's kind of ruins the whole point of Bitcoin.
Well, it shows also, as you've said many times before, a politician that doesn't understand what they're talking about, because that would be horrible if all the Bitcoin was made in the United States.
Well, yeah, I mean, they would be cornering the market if that would even be possible. And then they'd be able to control the price of Bitcoin, which would just turn it into the dollar again, because they find a way to print it up.
They're pushing hard to centralize everything crypto that they can, right? So I think he thinks it's more malleable than it actually is.
Well, so one way that you could centralize Bitcoin is to literally buy up all Bitcoin and then just, have most of the Bitcoin been given out by now? Of course, he's going to say whatever's needed to get more votes.
Absolutely. Every politician.
Well, no, if that's the case, then Biden would be saying anything he needed to get people to get crypto.
Well, he did,
and stuff like that.
But don't worry.
They kind of had this lukewarm. Biden had this lukewarm response to crypto, just going like, I mean, it's not illegal.
Doesn't know what he's talking about. He confused Zelensky for Putin, and not only that, but don't worry. With Biden, he's promised that in the
we're staying out of politics here. We're staying out of politics here. We're staying out of politics here. Just remember that Trump himself also confused one for the other like when he talks about his doctor at the White House, he got the wrong name. And he said that directly after saying that he had a very good memory and he aced some little cognitive test. So look, they both have it, okay? I think we would both rather have two other people because I see both of them as liabilities and not able to govern for different reasons. So let's move on past politics and get back into crypto.
No, you didn't let me finish. You decided to talk over me instead. I was going to end up, after I was done then bashing Trump, go into the point about how we laugh about them making, stupid remarks because they're old and probably senile, and they can't effectively do that. So why should we believe anything that they say regarding they're going to do this with Bitcoin or they're going to do that with Bitcoin? Because they can't do anything with Bitcoin. They don't control it. They can't control it. They can make life better for miners, let's say, by providing subsidies for electricity if you're mining Bitcoin. They can give preferential treatment to the licensing behind running Bitcoin to provide incentives. But I think that they really do think that they can control it somehow. Both of them.
Well, Trump has said he wants to base the U.S. dollar on Bitcoin, which is, again, that's a bad idea. Now, I think Bitcoin is great for having it as a store of value. If you base the U.S. dollar on Bitcoin, then you're going to have the U.S. dollar be subject to the whim of whoever has the most Bitcoin. Just leave it where it is. Bitcoin is a form of payment. Let the U.S. government have their inflated dollars. They can price things in dollars all they want. I wrote a big rant on CFA, I think, where I was saying fiat dollars are basically a way to lie about valuation. You want to say a gallon of milk is $2. If you priced it in fiat, that price is going to change a lot slower than if you priced it in Bitcoin. If you price it in Bitcoin, it'd be 0.2 Bitcoin one day, 0.3 Bitcoin another day, because that 0.2. Well, that 0.2 would be worth a lot, a vastly different amount the next day. So obviously
like
that's
20 grand.
So if you priced it in dollars and you took Bitcoin, that works just as well. So price it in your dollars. That way people can be fooled about milk, having a stable price, when in reality it doesn't. People just want things to stay the same. They want to be able to budget, and you can lie with fiat dollars. Fine, use fiat dollars for that, and then people get what they want. But if you want real value, you want to store value, and even transfer value, real value to people, then use Bitcoin. I'll support Papi Trompo.
Wow, Zorro, that's surprising. I didn't think you'd be a Trump guy.
Well, what's the little icon there? Well, we're not going into politics. We're all friends here. We want to remain friends.
So it is, and the last couple of elections, Bitcoin has not been on anybody's radar. They just sloughed it off. Even crypto hasn't been on anybody's radar. Suddenly, they've realized that the masses, the people who go out and vote, are actually becoming more and more into crypto, and they realized very quickly, oh shit, we'd better do something here. We'd better come out and lie or whatever we're going to do and say we're all for it, we're all for this, we're all for that. A lot of it, I think, is prompted by Gensler and the way that he's been attacking and made a fool of himself trying to prosecute a lot of these crypto projects. What are you doing?
I'm just waiting for you.
Why are you waiting for me? That was my thought. I'm trying to be respectful.
Okay.
A conversation that we had and not hog the entire conversation like I normally do.
Trying to be respectful. Well, you need to respect me my way, sir. Anyway.
Oh, my goodness. Go watch The Green Room. We had this whole discussion.
Yeah. Well, that one's public, so it should be easy to watch.
Right.
Awkward silence. Yep. I just wanted to see what he would do. I was going to see. I wanted to see if he felt that dead air was an awkward silence. Anyway, so I'm curious what you guys might think. I thought my computer froze. I'm curious what you guys might think about Trump embracing crypto. I personally think that he's just saying whatever the hell he needs to say. I don't think for an instant if he wins he's going to respect crypto in any way, other than unless it makes him money. If it makes him money, then he'll go all in on it.
It already did. His NFT collections. He made a ton of money off those NFT collections.
That's because people gave him a lot of stuff. Did he start those up and keep all that stuff himself?
That was a couple of years ago. I can't comment on that because I don't know what he did with the money, but he was even shocked, and you could tell he was shocked that people actually bought his NFTs.
So NFTs are different than Bitcoin, and I heard him on some show the other day actually talking about crypto, and he seemed to be getting crypto coins and NFTs confused. And it seemed that he really liked NFTs, but he didn't want anything to be used in place of the US dollar. So I don't think even though he's going to be talking about it, I think he's confused about the two. If he becomes president, I could see NFTs possibly getting some traction. I do think also that Bitcoin will still go up regardless, because he'll just use the word Bitcoin and everybody will do a lot. Meanwhile, all while he's talking it up, him and his friends and other people will be cashing out. He'll say, "Hey, so person, you want some more money from the United States? How about I just talk up Bitcoin a little bit? You cash out while I'm talking it up." So I think he'd like to use it for that reason. I don't think he'd like to use it for the reason it was created for.
Well, there was photographs.
No, he will not.
I'm terrible with time. We all know this, but it was a while ago. If I had to guess, I'd say 6 or 9 months ago, where he met with Bukele from El Salvador. And I think Bukele probably gave him some really good advice on that. And if you even study, and I'm sure as a former president and who wants to be president again, would be studying what's taking place in El Salvador and how that country is completely turned around. And it is a nice place to live now, apparently. He got the gangs off the streets. He gave incentives to companies, not crypto companies, but Bitcoin companies who came to El Salvador. There's you get no personal income tax and no business tax if you're a Bitcoin company. And that has stimulated that economy to unrealistic levels of prosperity. So I think, yes, Trump's going to, it is, because it's not, I don't think it's sustainable, right? You're going to get that big, huge pump, but it's going to come back down to reality soon, right? But I think Trump did eyeball that. And if his staff is smart, they're telling him, look, if you don't even have to do half of that to get a nice big spike. Even just saying the word Bitcoin at this point will probably create a giant wave of love from a huge base that you probably don't have right now. That's my guess.
Well, I still think that there are a lot of people out there, young and old, that just don't understand or trust Bitcoin. It has been a narrative from the Republicans from when Trump was in office before, and the Democrats for the last 4 years, that Bitcoin is, a scam, or it might be okay, but people just use it to scam with and stuff like that. I don't think that's changed, and I think if Trump gets in office, that he's going to have to work to change that for the liberals, and for the conservatives, I think they'll just all jump in.
So there is a lot of speculation. People were posting screenshots. I don't know, obviously, if it's real or if it's fake. But not only the Ethereum ETFs, but Solana ETFs are being applied for, according to people with screenshots now too. So I think the government whether it's president or Congress or anybody else, they're going to have to take this much more seriously if Wall Street is starting to jump in on the speculation. We already have Bitcoin ETFs, and that isn't going so well, by the way, in case you haven't been following that. People initially spent tons of money getting into it, billions of dollars, and then billions of dollars came right back out of it. So people don't understand it quite enough yet. And so I think they're looking for that, like everybody else in this space that we've talked about many, many times. They're looking for that giant pump, sell, let it drop. And they're looking for the big gains that people have come to expect in Bitcoin and in crypto.
Well, Bitcoin, I think is going to just have to be around for a while for people to understand it and trust it. Services need to connect up to it, which means you'll need to be able to buy and sell things with crypto on, I don't know, things like Amazon and stuff like that. And then on top of that, once people get used to the idea of Bitcoin, then they're going to have to get used to the idea of altcoins and NFTs and certain smart contracts. That's going to take some time if the government is not like in full-throated support of it. The government was in very full-throated support of the internet in the 90s, and that brought about a boom, which was good. I think the Republicans are starting to see, if they got behind it, that they can create a boom, which will be great. I think crypto is I mean, there's so much with crypto that you can do. That's why we have the podcast. I think there's a lot of potential there that current people in charge really don't like. I don't think Trump really understands how much control he's going to lose if he embraces crypto.
So let's talk about the practicality, because you started your conversation on that and the adoption of it. Right now, I think it's a company like Strike that will really take it a lot further than anybody else at this point, because they're almost a full banking service at this point. And there's not very good instant rails, right? So Lightning is not that great. Liquid is not that great. There's strengths and weaknesses, but right now it's still not feasible to go in somewhere and pay on Lightning. With Strike, it's becoming easier. So if more companies adopt the Bitcoin rails like Strike has and take it a little further than Strike has gotten, and I do think they're having a lot of difficulty getting that going. I don't think it's because of a lack of knowing what they're doing. I think they're running into a lot of regulatory roadblocks in order to get that taken care of. But that said, they need it to operate more like a traditional bank or like a checking account. They're close, but they're not there.
Strike is trying to replace Swift, right?
Not anymore. They're more leaning into the personal nature of it now. And that was the original goal, was to have it working for business first and people second, but it kind of flip-flopped. It was easier to do it for the people first and the businesses second.
Well, of course, because the businesses are all using Swift. Swift isn't really used by individuals. So they got in the wrong direction. They've got to change the world from the individual side first. The old way to do it was the way we did the internet in the 90s, and I think businesses got on board really quick. People did not. People let the businesses kind of help them into it, and it's going to have to be the other way around, apparently, which is the same way that Bitcoin became popular to begin with.
So I do want to, this is a great segue, because I did want to incorporate this, Soros, so I'm glad you brought this up. I talked a little last week about how I do feel that crypto and blockchain is going away, slowly, but it's going away because there's nothing really good you can do with it. And there has to be a reason to use blockchain. Right now, people are finding uses for a blockchain, and those uses aren't very useful. If if there is adoption in blockchain, it's going to be because there's a real use case for it. Like VeChain, right? Used in the Walmart system for tracking packages, their shipments of their goods from Vietnam all the way over here. And it's checked in on blockchain and people can trace it. But that's not very important. Hang on, I'm almost there. I'm almost done with my thought, and then we'll jump into that. It's not very important because there's other tracking services that can be used just as easily. And people believe in the UPS system, and they believe when they track their package that it is where they say it is. So I think there has to be a much more compelling reason for a blockchain. So okay, go ahead. Point to your screen and go there.
I'll get there using your words. So you and I had a discussion back and forth on Crypto Faz Academy earlier today, and I'm just going to summarize it by saying you don't believe in a lot of the sources that I might give you, and the reason that you don't believe in it is because it's somebody else. And in the case of in the case of companies tracking things for you, if you're going to be consistent with yourself, you're not going to be trusting people like UPS and Federal Express and anybody else who's doing tracking. But I can see you personally trusting a blockchain more because you know that it's automated. You know that it's not controlled by someone. So anyway, let's dovetail into this. Having a blockchain to verify the source of where content comes from. So in the case of deepfakes, the video comes out, then it can be verified via the true person. I just paraphrased. There's actually a coin out there right now that does this called XSL, which that's its coin name, but they renamed it. They call it something else. It's in France. And the whole point is to verify the validity of all the things in the world that we're seeing right now. So look into that.
That's a good one.
That's one you picked, actually, and you had that same observation 2 years ago when you suggested that I get some XSL, which I did, actually. Now, I'm going to look it up here. XSL coin.
They started
MyDID.
MyDID. MyDID, which is my digital ID, which is where they started. They had they were the first ones that came out with this cool concept of sharding your personal information. Meaning in one block, you would get think of like a Rubik's Cube for your personal data, right? In one of the Rubik's Cube pieces was your social security number. In another was your name. Another was your driver's license number. Another was, your birth certificate and all this other stuff, right? And those would be verified, right? They would verify those and certify those on the blockchain. And so what their shtick is they wanted to go out and hook up with companies like exchanges and Gemini and Coinbase and all these places and get them to accept their digital ID system for KYC and everything else. But here's the rub. When someone wanted KYC from you, you had these 64 blocks of personal information, and Gemini could say, we want name, address, telephone number, and social security number. And you could go to your digital ID. You could pull only those 4 blocks out of it to send them a hash that would verify those 4 blocks were accurate. Nobody else got that granular with digital ID. It was just like this big blob of data, and you could choose to share all your data with people or none of it at all. So this is where MyDID came in and broke that apart into these little boxes or little shards that you could choose. And that hash is a one-time use hash. So if they got compromised, if you sent that hash to Gemini, they stored it for some reason, and somebody got it and compromised that data, that hash was no longer valid. It could never be used again. So that's why I was so excited about them, because they were taking this to a much, much deeper level of digital ID. And I thought, man, if they can get some ground underneath them here and really start running with this, that's going to be a huge, huge play.
Well, there you go. So people are doing these things that we're hoping that they would do, like MyDID. That kind of contradicts your argument that not much is going on with crypto. There is a lot going on, but they're building slowly, and they can't build fast because they're not being supported. Instead, they have to build slowly and fight through all the regulation. And then once the regulation headwinds lessen, then all these will explode. That's my 2 cents.
Well, I agree with you and I disagree with you because they have this technology now. It's just that no other companies are buying into it quite yet because there's a lot of ID validators or ways to do it. And the government hasn't accepted digital ID yet all the way. There are states that are just barely rolling out to where you can get an electronic copy of your driver's license right now and have that be considered valid because of the ability for people to manipulate that data. So again, there's a great use for the blockchain, as C Money had said, but getting a government to buy into it or vet it, if you will, and allow it, for lack of a better way to put it, as a valid form of ID, there's your problem. So again, that is where my argument comes from, is they're not doing anything. They might have the technology, but they're not doing anything with it because they can't. So that is a big problem that the crypto space and the Bitcoin space faces. That's one of the biggest, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's new. The fax machine came out many, many, many years before it got commercialized. It's going to take someone, the first person that commercializes it, the first company that manages to take off with it, is going to be the big winner. The whole reason people are even buying crypto right now is because they're just speculating. Okay, they're speculating that whatever coin they're into is eventually going to take off, and then they're gonna make a lot of money. In the long run, you don't really need to buy any crypto until stuff happens. But if you want to try and make some money, yeah, go ahead and speculate on it. But you can lose all your money.
Yeah, the odds aren't good for a lot of these projects because they never end up putting anything out. Think Tank has a great comment.
Oh, what do we got here?
If I can push the button. AI and quantum computers make me wonder what security will be like in 10 years.
So, okay, I heard something about quantum computing and crypto back in 2018, 2019. And the whole thought was, oh my God, a quantum computer could figure out pretty quickly private keys. Or not figure out private keys, but be able to go through all the private keys and all the wallets and stuff like that. However, or just make it so that you could print up a bit more Bitcoin by figuring out the computations that miners do. Well, the nice thing about Bitcoin is it can be upgraded, and its current proof of work system can just be modified to work with a quantum algorithm, and then you're back in business. And then if any money gets stolen, in the meantime, you just put out a fork and you fork back, I don't know, a couple months, and people will start accepting that as the real Bitcoin, as the one that's quantum protected now. So yeah, Bitcoin is meant to grow with technology, and a lot of cryptos out there. I mean, XRP is the same way. It can change how its consensus mechanism works. It just has to. They just have a voting mechanism with all the validators. A lot of other coins can work in very similar ways. So I'm not too worried about AI and quantum computers having a problem with crypto. If anything, they're going to make crypto a lot more secure.
So even with quantum computers, so public addresses can be reverse engineered because they're generated from the private keys, right? But even with quantum computing, it would take a very, very long time in order to do that. And I don't think it would be 100% accurate as well. That entropy that they use for that is ridiculously difficult. I read an article this week, and I don't have the link. I'll see if I can find it at some point if I remember. But it was talking about Satoshi, and they said, "Oh my goodness, Satoshi mined 1.1 million Bitcoin, and if quantum computers came along and cracked his private key from his public key, Bitcoin is screwed." And so a couple of really smart Bitcoin people kind of came back and said, well, not really, because all of those 1 million coins are not in one address. They're spread out over 20, 30, 40 addresses. So Satoshi was smart enough not to put all his eggs in one basket. It isn't going to sink Bitcoin, even if quantum computing does get to that point. What are you doing with your black screens over there?
I don't have a black screen.
You did?
I was doing something. Maybe I had to sneeze.
Oh, I think
All
you
right,
farted.
then. Could be. You'll never know. You need very cold conditions to run a quantum computer. People figure it out. I'm not too worried about that. There's once somebody figures it out, that's when it will become popular, and not before. And if it takes 20 more years, fine. Take 20 more years. Who cares? The whole point is you can update these algorithms to deal with different conditions. You can just update them.
I do think that quantum computing will help AI tremendously.
Oh, sure. Yeah, totally. I think AI is going to take off so much that the world's going to be unrecognizable in about 20 years. It's amazing. We have to figure out so many things for ourselves right now. And well, 30 years ago, we had to figure out more things for ourselves. And in the future, we'll just be doing that less. It's kind of funny because everybody's grandfather will tell you that they had it harder, that they had to do things, the hard way, and now we don't all have to do that now. Great. Our grandfathers embraced calculators. Our grandfathers embraced, all the tech that we have right now. They embraced it because it made their lives easier. We're going to want AI. AI is just going to make our lives easier. We don't have to worry about doing a bunch of bullshit. We have to go through a lot of repetitive stuff in our day-to-day life right now. Fine, AI will do all that repetitive stuff, and we can just get on with the stuff that we wanted to do. So I have no problem with that.
What you need to do, I'm going to ruin your life.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you a link. You can now buy your own AI robot. $14,995 from a Chinese company. And you can program it to do whatever it is you want to do. And it's a walking AI model as well.
Well, the first ones tend to have the most bugs, so I think I'll wait for a little while.
It's going to gather up everything that you do, and since you're such an AI fan, would you use a robot for something like that, or would you not trust it?
The older I get, so if I'm right now I'm 50, so if I'm like 70 or 80, hell yeah, I would. And I think there'll be plenty of time to suss out all the bugs until that happens. But yeah, why not? So, okay. So if you had to carry bricks from your front yard to your backyard, and you're over 40, you start having back problems. Well, hell, you can have back problems if you're 20. But the whole point is, if you have a lot of jobs around the house that are repetitive or annoying, yeah, robot can do it. I have no problem with that. In fact, it can enable you to do, there's certain jobs you don't do around your house because it's so laborious. What if if you want to build a back deck and you're like, man, I can afford the wood and I can put it together, but carrying it around back and forth and getting it, that just takes a long time, and I work and stuff like that. Fine, have the damn robot do it. It's okay. It can carry stuff left and right. It can probably help you measure stuff out. And hell, if it can help you write speeches and figure out code in the future, it can help you actually make the goddamn deck. Okay, great. So if it's going to enable me to get the life that I want, Sure. Now, yeah, I know what you're thinking. Like all these things like Alexa and stuff like that. Sorry, my microphone. Things like Siri and Alexa and stuff like that. Yeah, you're worried about being spied upon. You're worrying about that. If you have a smart TV, you're being spied upon right now. If you're using a Google phone, you're being spied upon. If you're using, the computer that you're looking at this on right now, if you're watching this on a computer somewhere, you're being spied on. And I would include your phone in on your computer. You're being spied on. So the question is not that a robot's going to make that worse. It's already happening. Yeah, I think we need regulation for that kind of thing. So when these robots come out, when these robots come out, they're going to start getting into areas that we don't want them to. And they're going to start doing things that observing things and recording things we don't want them to. And there's going to have to be a lot more enforced rules out there if you're going to have them. So yes, I want robots. I personally welcome our robotic overlords as long as they're regulated. And they will be, just like cars.
So it depends if you get to choose your regulator, though, because I would not want certain companies. I would not want to be in charge of enforcing regulation on my AI.
Companies tend not to be regulation enforcers. That tends to be governments.
No, they have to enforce the laws, otherwise they can't sell their product. So they have to limit their software.
Companies don't enforce laws. Companies don't enforce laws. They follow them. Okay, it's the government that enforces the laws, and the government will decide what it enforces, and the companies will always try to find the way around. Like, what can we do to keep them from enforcing a law about something? Maybe we can assert a certain interpretation, and that way they won't enforce it in a way we don't like. All that's got to suss itself out and work through the process.
I wonder if they'll let you root the things.
Of course. I mean, that's a valid angle to go there. There's nothing wrong with having your own robot that's rooted. That's how you can get around some of the regulations. So, I mean, there's all sorts of things you can make at home. You can make your own moonshine at home right now, which is probably illegal. And it's probably illegal for a reason. You kill yourself with it by accident.
Killing yourself should not be illegal.
So we're talking, okay, we're getting into politics now.
It's not politics.
Yes, it is. Let's move on. Anyway, if we're talking about what robots can and can't do, you're going to run into problems with the government, and it's going to turn out that people are going to want these robots to be hobbled or disabled or regulated in some way. This is a fact. Okay, you can say you don't like it. It's gonna happen. I don't care who's in charge. It could be Donald Trump in charge or Joe Biden in charge. It's still gonna happen.
It might.
It will. I guarantee it. Yes, robots will be regulated. I wonder if you'll even need a license to have one, because they could be so dangerous. I mean, the first time a robot accidentally falls on your kid and kills them, oh my fucking God. People are gonna go ape shit.
Yeah, we can get really political.
There you go. No. Your robot shouldn't have to kill anybody. They should be safe. Oh, wait, I should be able to have an unsafe robot if I want to. Oh, fuck, it killed my kid and the next door neighbor's dog. Oh, shit. Why are they taking the robot away? Why are they charging me with the crime? I rooted the goddamn thing. It was my fault. No, it wasn't. Aren't you guys regulating? You should have a law against that. Yeah, that's what happens. Okay, let's not go there.
You are such an alarmist. Oh my God.
Alarmist my ass. That's just going to happen. I'm an extrapolist. I extrapolate. I can see it a mile away.
Personal defense system, robot karate arms. That could go sideways very quickly, too. First time a Karen comes up to you and starts harassing you, the robot kills it.
Oops, sorry, didn't mean to kill that person. See, this is where our technology gets ahead of our laws. And in the case of a robot, a physics, see, it's okay with AI because AI is not killing any, or like ChatGPT isn't killing anybody right now. You still have to follow its instructions in order to kill somebody. It's all different when it automatically does it itself. If your Roomba winds up killing somebody, Roombas are going off the market. Okay, period.
Well, no, wait. So there's a far greater chance that people are stupid than robots will be.
Of course, robots only do what you tell them to do.
Or teach it to do, right? In the case of AI, how you program it and what you teach it to do. Elon Musk just gave a speech on that, and it was scary. And I don't get scared easy. You know me, I'm like all out there. I hammer my fist about the decentralization and all that kind of fun stuff.
You do get scared easy.
I don't, but he was talking about how he has that Optimus, right? And he was playing around with the network and everything else that he's putting on this. And it taught itself how to interpret things. So with the camera, right, there was a real short video on it. And it was walked through like a warehouse office area. And they set up temporary, like desk, right, for temporary workers. And then they brought the robot back to the front, and he introduced this other guy, and this other guy said, "I'm a temporary worker. Can you show me to the desk?" And it walked right over and took it to the temporary desk. So it learned on its own what a temporary desk was without being taught what it was.
Well, okay. First of all, yes, the robots are taught. That's what their training data does. Their training data is what teaches them. It's the equivalent of you going to just, you being a little baby and you going to school for 12 years. It's gonna know how to do these things. It's gonna know what they are.
He swears that wasn't part of the training data.
Well, that's fine.
It learned it. It actually learned it.
You can extrapolate. Once you understand the word temporary and you understand what it means and desk and what that means, you can extrapolate what temporary desk means. That's not a problem. That's the whole promise of AI is you don't have to give it all the information. It can put two and two together. That's great. But we're gonna have a problem with how those things do what they're gonna do. Real quick about this, just wait till drones start issuing tickets automatically. I'm going to fire back on that one and say, how come cameras aren't issuing tickets automatically all the time? Why do we even still have cops on the highways pulling you over, writing you tickets? That's because the cops don't want automatic cameras or drones issuing tickets automatically. That would prevent them from stopping the car and looking around in the car and seeing what's going on. That's why they really stop you. Okay. We've had the technology to issue tickets automatically from video for 20, 30 years, and for some reason that's not the dominant way we do things. You'll see it in certain places, on certain stoplights, like at a real dangerous intersection. They'll do it there because that's important. It's not important to them to do it anywhere else. They want to pull you over. They want to look at your car. They want to get an idea of what you're doing. That's why you're being stopped.
I watched another video this week. They're testing right now AI drones that can travel up to 250 miles per hour. The weight is the problem because the battery pack, to get them enough juice to go for longer distances. But could you imagine the potential of what governments or law enforcement or anybody else could do with a 250 mile an hour drone? That's like really scary.
Oh, okay. So you're just leaving that hang out there. Tell me some of those things so that you could scare me properly.
So
even one thing.
Is that fair in war, for example? Right. So the U.S. has certain laws, right, when it comes to drone use in wartime or what they can do with the drones. We've seen on Twitter, if you've been on Twitter at all lately with this Ukrainian-Russian war, these drone strikes and what they do, they could deploy these drones to do crowd control or riot control. And they're totally programmed on who they're going after and what their objective is. And if they can move at 250 miles an hour, that's scary. Sorry. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what does. If you don't pay your property taxes on time, does it come to your house at 250 miles an hour and blow out the windows to get you to leave so they can take over the property? I mean, what
Just
the
wait
hell,
until the countermeasures come. Just wait until the countermeasures come. People aren't going to be. So what you're talking about makes it sound like that's the end game. No. What's going to happen is there's going to be a response to that. There's going to be a legal response to it and a physical response to that. So yeah, that's going to be a problem at first until people start shooting the fuckers out of the sky or creating their own drones to intercept those drones, or have what do you call it, neighborhood watches with drones, keeping other drones out of their airspace. I mean, it's if they're going to start doing that, then there's going to be a response, a physical and a legal response to that.
Oh, here, Golden Hawk found what I was talking about.
Lasers. You could use lasers on other drones.
It wasn't Elon. It was Google.
By the way, eagles are very good defense against drones. They can just fly up to them, grab the motherfuckers, and then take them down. That's another way to take out drones.
I would say that there's a lot of drones that they're making that are far stronger than an eagle in flight, though.
Maybe the bigger ones. If we're just thinking about smaller ones that watch people, yes. If you're talking about ones that have missiles on them, then I'm kind of curious. Any drone that has weapons on them, let's go down that rabbit hole. Are there helicopters right now that shoot at protesters, or do police shoot at protesters? From the ground. Why don't we have helicopters shooting at protesters? Things like that. So we're talking about a whole different ball of wax. Whenever you hear about a protest anywhere, you always hear about cops coming in and shooting at them. Okay, I'm thinking if you start shooting at protesters and they start shooting back at helicopters and stuff like that, then you're going to create a bigger problem. And then people are going to start shooting anything out of the sky that they see. So no, I don't think you're going to have drones coming in and taking out protesters. I think that might work for a few times.
Everybody just running out their driveways shooting everything that moves.
No, I'm thinking about all those people who like to carry guns around everywhere they go, getting shot at by a drone. How long is that going to last? Really? Now, of course, if you're saying that they can fly up to you at 250 miles an hour, shoot at you, and then fly back, well, then again, other drones will come, and these other drones will be armed with AI, and they'll be fighting the other drones. We'll be fighting ourselves. It'll be a big waste of money. I think that's kind of a non-starter.
Kind of like
it'll be
Skynet.
Entertaining for a couple of years until it becomes just everybody realizes it's a waste of money.
Do you think it propels itself to that apex before it's pulled back, though? I think they're going to try. I think they'll try.
Well, some things are highly illegal. Like, you've been able to shine lasers at airplanes for the longest time. So now airplanes have these things on the bottom of them that can actually trace where the laser comes from. And if you ever get caught doing something like that, and it is possible to catch you, you're going away for a long, long time. Now you could say, well, if you start shooting at drones, what's this? The propellers would chop the eagle feet up. You got to look on YouTube for eagles hunting drones. There's a really, really, really great video that I saw on that. Will they get that far? I don't know. It's possible. It depends on how far each side goes. The first time a drone kills the wrong person, that's a police drone or a police or a federal drone or something like that kills the wrong person. That's going to be a big deal. That's where the legal angle is going to come in. So I don't know. I don't think so.
This is a really good point. We've never talked about this before. There's a whole mob of people over in England right now who I forget what they're called. They have a name for them, but they go around and they take down all the surveillance cameras that are put up in neighborhoods, right? Because England's really big on that now. They put cameras like every 100 feet or something. But anyway, think tank is saying, the scary thing is constantly being on camera. Do you consider like a facial recognition camera to be, when it's connected to AI, to be an invasion of privacy?
So we have to define privacy. Is privacy when you're in public or when you're in your home? So
if they put them out on this, let's go with the streets, because that's where they're putting these facial recognition cameras.
Do you have
now.
privacy? Okay. Do you have privacy right now from anybody on the street taking a picture of you?
No, because if they're in a public place, they can shoot whatever they can see.
Okay, great. So no, it's not an invasion of privacy. The only difference is these are cameras that are connected to computers, which could then analyze what's in the picture. But somebody can go with a regular old-fashioned camera, snap a picture of you, take it home, scan it to a camera, or scan it to a computer, and do the same thing. So technically, no, it's not an invasion of privacy, because being in the public does not mean you're guaranteed privacy. However, what you're doing when you're at home, that's privacy, in my opinion. We probably do not. I agree with Zora. We don't have privacy in our own homes, because if you have any sort of, Siri or anything like that on your phones, see, Siri just made it just lit up here on my phone. If you have any of those things on your phones, or in your house, then they can hear what you're saying. You've given them permission by turning them on to hear what you say. So you've given up that privacy in a way. If you'd like to have that privacy back, you can turn those devices off. What would I prefer? I would prefer what they're saying that they have right now, which is, we listen for certain keywords. That's what I prefer. That's what I would think would be absolute privacy, that you can actually have those things in your homes and it not telling you. However,
depending on what keywords they're looking for, though.
Okay, what if, we'll just go down this rabbit hole. What if your daughter gets kidnapped by somebody and he has an Alexa in his house, and your daughter is trapped in the house and she's being murdered in that house? One, should she be able to call the police? Two, should the police actually, if they suspect this guy, be able to tap in to that Alexa or Siri and hear what's going on? Now, how's our invasion? How do you feel about invasion of privacy? I mean, it's not going to protect your own daughter. I mean, would you want her to be protected? Well, she also has a phone, so her phone can report in on what she's doing too. Oh, have you seen that article?
I was just going to click on that. I did. I read that signals?
One. Yeah. I would think that is still an invasion of privacy, because yeah, fine, Wi-Fi router signals will illuminate the people in the room. That's not for you to read. You're constitutionally protected against people reading that. I mean, you could say that the windows being open makes it so that anybody can look in your house, and technically, if you can, you'll get in trouble. But I still think that what you do in your house should be private. But there's an exception to everything. Again, if you're murdering somebody in the privacy of your own home, is that a private act? Let me ask you, Titan. Should you be guaranteed the right to murder another human in your own house?
That is a very, very tough question.
I should rephrase that, because that's a bit disingenuous. You don't have the right to murder somebody in your house. You have the right. Do you have the right for somebody to know whether you're doing it or not? Because the only way around that is to violate the privacy.
That is very, very tough, because that destroys the whole legal foundation, right? Because you have to have a witness. You have to have a multitude of things in order to convict somebody of that. So if there's electronic monitoring that the person may or may not consent to, can you use a term of service on your iPhone to circumvent the confession that you gave in your own house? That is a huge question. And those are going to be some of the legal challenges I think that we're going to end up facing in the future. The things that are around you, especially when you bring AI in, like all the stuff that you do on AI right now, you type in the questions you ask, the conversations that you have with it are obviously being cataloged for future training data. So if you think that just by clicking around on your phone, they're building a profile of you, using that AI data is an even bigger profile. So could they use that to send to the FBI database and profile you as a serial killer and then start monitoring you? Is that ethical? Is that moral? Is that what they should be doing?
Did Faz just murder somebody? No,
Yeah, I think you did.
I wouldn't ask my kids to please be quiet because I'm doing a podcast. They're all screaming.
Yeah,
so,
they're real loud. Now they're quiet, and you came back and wrung your hands. So yeah.
Look, Ma, no blood. Okay. So right now you have to get in the United States. You have to get a warrant to be. Yeah, I like the shirt too. Look at the colors right there. Anyway,
political. Leave it.
Yep. Anyway, so you have to get a warrant to be able to like go into somebody's house. So I think you should have a warrant to be able to read that data, even if it's available. Personally, things become
But if AI,
more. Things become a bit more Things become a bit more complicated if somebody is being actively murdered in a house and that AI can figure out that that's happening. Think of the false alarms with that too. I mean, people having sex and stuff like that. I mean, police bust into your house because the AI is just convinced that, you know, because you like S&M, the AI is just convinced that you're killing somebody. So,
and you say I go off the rails a lot.
Hey, I'm just going into the
I never would
possibilities.
have thought you were say anything like that before. That was good.
Yeah, I would never. Yeah, but I am aware of all the possibilities out there. So there are people that play with Nerf guns in their house. Don't shoot me! Don't shoot me! And then, you know, is the AI going to go tell on you? And then the police bust into your house
Now
and you're
listen.
being shot with Nerf guns? Or
So that was my question. Or you know, there's a lot of people like I have like really morbid interests, right? When I was a young kid,
you can just stop right there.
13 to 17, I collected, and I still have some of them. I don't have all of them, but I was really big into true crime. I would consume book after book after book of true crime, and I loved every minute of it, right? So if I have a curiosity for that stuff, so if I get a hold of AI and let's say I go on to Claude or ChatGPT and I want to research, you know, the something like a true crime. One of my favorite ones was a book called Dr. Snow. And Dr. Snow was a dentist in North Carolina who was the largest importer of cocaine in the 1980s. And he had a small dental practice. Nobody knew about it, right? So if I go in there and I start putting in these facts about the Dr. Snow book, am I going to get flagged as a drug dealer? Or, you know, if I research another good one, I forget the name of the book, but it was this kidnapper who kidnapped this woman and put her in her head in a box and kept this box on her head for years that he had made and made her his slave, right? So if I go to AI and I put that stuff in there, are they going to think that I'm like some wild deviant person? as you were talking about, like
you
where
have
does
to
it go?
program you have to program all your deviancies into your AI. It's like, okay.
Right. So no, that's like, it's funny, but it's true. So how is the AI going to be able to tell reality of someone who does have mental issues and is searching how to dissolve a body in acid versus somebody like me who's just morbidly curious about all this stuff and loves reading about it from looking up, acid dissolving chemicals just because
So
you're
okay,
curious what those
let's
were.
okay, so let's go there, because right now everything you do on the internet can be seen by your internet service provider. Every link you visit right now, even if you wanted to Google that kind of stuff, can already be seen. Have you been arrested yet? So I would think that in the case of, you know, uh, you doing it while AI is somehow in charge of your phone, or in charge of your stuff, I'm thinking, your internet service provider is probably using AI already. It's probably
Well,
not going to be a big deal until you're suspected of a crime. If you're suspected
well,
of dissolving a body in acid, and then they look at your internet history, AI will make it so that that search will be a lot quicker. The search still has to be, you have to have a warrant for it.
I think there's too much information though, because I don't know about you, but I get like on my feeds on YouTube and on X and on everything else, they have all these videos where these pedophile catcher guys go out and catch the pedophiles, right? They meet them at Target and expose them and all this stuff. It's all over the place, right? So these are just the small portion of these people that they catch. And they're communicating on clear text, regular chat messengers. The biggest one apparently was Facebook, and Zuckerberg ended up testifying in Congress about it. They have even closer to AI technology for tracking and picking up key phrases and words and conversations. And we all know Facebook hoards that information, but they're not doing anything about it. I think there's just too much flood of data for them to even think about pulling this stuff out. Otherwise, there's two reasons. They either ignore it on purpose, or they can't keep up with it. They can't catch up to it.
So
I
my,
don't
my
know
thought
which one it
here,
is.
my thought here is, yes, they actually could keep up with it, but if they allow case to go through with their private data that they have of your data, if they allow it to where they're forced to provide this data, then it provides a precedent for it to happen, on a bigger scale. So they don't want to do it because it's protecting them to not share your data. If it was protecting them to share your data, it would already be shared. And honestly, a lot of it probably is anyway.
Well, it would break the trust of the people too. The people wouldn't. More and more people, they're like, if they can catch so and so figuring out how to make a letter bomb, and they're seen as protecting it, or they're seen as the snitch telling on everybody, nobody's going to say anything on social media. People are going to leave social media and they won't have any customers.
I'm hearing all these trigger words that you're saying right now that makes me wonder if this cast is going to be deleted at some point.
No, these are valid topics though, because this stuff,
That was a
this is
valid
important
observation
stuff.
of mine too.
Yeah, I mean, we live in this world, we interact with it, and getting people thinking about these things, and then you see like the evil side of it all, that they have to keep it quiet or nobody will be on their platform. Oh my God, that's like really fucked up. It really is. I'm sorry, but it is.
So, yeah, remember, you live in the United States, where a lot of these things are protected. Other countries, it's not so much. And these worries that you're bringing up are not worries from people in other countries where they don't have this freedom. And I'm going to say it's not a worry because they've already lost it. Um, and you're worried that it would be removed. I'm gonna suggest that there's a way around any of these laws, for the feds to get what they want. I don't think AI is going to help them significantly. I think it's just going to speed up the process. AI AI is likely going to be good for flagging things, but a human will probably have to review it to make sure that it fits the law. I don't think that you're going to get arrested and thrown in jail via AI. I think AI is, for the foreseeable future, just going to be what
A helper, huh?
well, yeah. And so that would happen anyway. It would just take a lot longer. So that's what I think you should be worried about, is how quickly are you going to get arrested, because this is so much data.
Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of talked out on this one. I don't know about you. Is there anything else you want to throw in? We're well over an hour already.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I was just having a fun time there. It should not be used to prevent future crime like Minority Report. Yeah, Minority Report is like a wet dream here. That's there's always going to be some crimes that you can't predict. AI is not going to help. Like, yeah, if you did like S&M, if you go too far and accidentally kill somebody, how's the AI going to know the difference? I mean, it's like, oh yeah, Faz does that all the time. Titan does that all the time. It's okay. Oh, wait a minute, I don't hear anybody talking anymore. Okay, well, they all went to bed. Meanwhile you're hauling a body out. Yeah. How quickly is this video gonna vanish from YouTube?
We did everything right, but no one's watching it. I wonder why.
Anyway, yes, it's been over an hour. We have some interesting stuff on our FazRadio Premium today, which happened to be public. So if you want to hear more and hear about our political leanings, you can go there. Maybe that should just be a political show. Should we do more of a political show, or do we just want to piss people off all the time and remove our few viewers that we have?
No, so we've talked about it many times in the past about spinning off into different shows, and there just hasn't been demand from the CFA users for any specific type of show other than the AI stuff. We have gotten requests to dig deeper into the AI again. So maybe try an AI show that focuses just on.
Well, we could just talk about AI.
Right, but I mean, outside of FazRadio is kind of crypto and whatever we feel like talking about. Whereas if we had an AI focused show, even if it was 15, 20, 30 minute, yeah, I'm really good at pissing people off.
So, okay,
you know that.
Drama makes good content, but if you have enough drama, then people start leaving death threats on. They dox you and they find out your phone number, and then they leave you death threats. I just like my privacy, so I don't. And plus, it's just not in my personality to piss people off. Now, yes, I do piss people off when I don't try, but I'm not going to actively try. I'm not going to actively try to be a pain in the ass. I'm just going to be one, and because that's just who I am.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time about a year ago where it was mainly directed at me that I was kind of acting on FazRadio versus being me. What you see is what you get, and the people who know me in real life know that I am just as screwed up in real life as I am on this show. There is no acting involved whatsoever. I am 100% authentic on this show. When I get excited, I get excited. When I get mad, I get mad.
just wait until we talk about the flatness of the Earth and the likelihood that humans have been on the moon. There you go. By the way, we've as a little bit of moon history, it was about 2,000 years ago where I forgot the name of the Roman guy or the Greek guy who determined that the moon was a rock and not one of the gods hanging in the sky, and he determined that it was reflecting sunlight, and that the moon was, not he. Was it Faz pisses off Titan when he interrupts?
100%.
Damn right I do. Damn 100%. Right I do. Titan standard. Faz standard.
versus Titan standard.
Titan
Yes.
standards.
Now that would be a good show. That would be a really good show.
All right. And where's my little button? On that note,